I was thinking of this label that I saw basically because something just something got to my how can I say, it got to my attention. It got my attention basically because of me remembering when I was young and how I used to be. Basically, if I'm now basically going to I just don't want to mix it up, but what happened, for some reason I just thought about sharing this right now because it's just this this label that I'm. But before I get to explain this, just remember that these are like all covered by the legislation of the Consumer Law Act. So if I'm ever referring to a product label, something like that, maybe, just that way we're not basically just talking about like it's not like it's not like there's a complaint or something, or maybe something that may affect the company's reputation, which I'm not going to mention the name, but if I'm ever referring some the food, let's refer to food processing labels. If I was to basically remember me and when I was young, I used to love I used to like how can I, let's talk about a bag of chips, yeah. Now I'm sure that's how we were, all of us, when we were young, basically. If we were to remember how teenage was, or maybe if I'm ever when I was young, because I'm just remembering the type of chips that I used to like. That was mainly like they used to always, because what I'm now getting mixed up with is that because the company that sells knows how to basically draw you, it's like dealing with product labels, like knowing how to do business, basically knowing like it will cause you to buy, or it will be so, it's like you're being tempted at the same time for you to buy, because it's the label and the image. All right, because the image on the like, for example, if I was I'm just referring to how I probably was before, like how I used to maybe like, and even if I was to go for the bigger bag of chips, like the small one that we used to, brother, just get that one, because if it's something that was like, delicious, something nice. So that small bag used to go for the big ones, large ones. So I used to try to fill myself with that big. And if I was to now look back and see how it was, because what happened as I was walking, to be honest, and I saw one of those chips, one of my favorite ones that used to be. And basically, what happened? It's got a chicken flavor on it. So it's got the roasted chicken and the way they make it look like, and it's the color of the, what I mean? Which is that was maybe before how I used to maybe go to the store maybe and buy, and it used to be like, oh, yum, that's the one. But not after later when it's the same maybe item that even if I was to maybe now go, if I was to, like, for example, if I was to feel like, having some crispy chips, I would just go for the plain one normally, mainly now that because of what I must have got used to, or some other thing I would prefer, like sometimes just plain would do to me, like from because I tried to cut down on some especially even when some things that was got spices in it. So that also because of what I've also learned how to, not to just whatever. And we were also told by, when we were young, by like for example, our parents and basically, no, don't, so like for example, when you that's too much, or don't mix it, you're gonna get, what I mean, something like that. Like I'm just trying to speak like what maybe I would remind some people how they were, maybe, because I'm just trying to get to this point right now because of this product label that is actually causing people to, like, it's just the appetite, they're smart. They're like very they like it's like we basically if you ever like I'm talking about now, but what about the kids? Like basically all of them. And if I'm ever found some other product that they may be selling, people are like especially young children that are like like maybe not quite good on how to explain this, but if I was to share this with you right now, because what happened, I saw that as I was walking, I'm like, I don't know, just remembering remembering how we were when we were young, because we couldn't basically well, we didn't know much about these product labels, how it can be so tricky, you know what I mean? Like it'll cause you to, and then when you be like, no, bro, it's like, oh man, when you see it, like, oh, you feel like it, you would want to get it. And when you would want to go get it, and because of it, and what happened, because look how I used to be, because also they're soaked with oil. They're not like there's regular chips that I'm now. If I was to explain it to you much more better, that's what my main point is. That if I'm ever basically eating, and if I was to basically eat too much of it, it's all oil. You know what I mean? It's all soaked in oil. And that big bag, probably now that I'm even not able to do that big bag, I'm even sometimes just for fun of it, or some snacks sometimes maybe. If I'm ever probably thinking of it, it would be the normal size small bag. But then I never used to think, I'm like, no, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, because it's because you crave basically, and it's, yeah. So that, which is, yeah, because it's not like normal chips, you know what I mean? They're not neat potatoes at all. You know what I mean? They're thin, they're crisp, and that's all oil basically. You know what I mean? That's like, it's not unless you're dipping it with something, or when later when we grew up, when we used to basically attend some like for example, when it used to be birthday party, when we used to go to some, like, or some normal or when they're serving at the, sometimes at the wedding, things like that, when they used to do it for dips, but I'm just talking about something that drew my attention, because I'm now focusing on this label, because how companies make a lot of money. Like you just, if you like, you can depends how wise you are. If you're like now, basically, because of what the technology, because of what the machine can print, you know what I mean? It can print it as 3D, as so, like you get the I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? So the way I got to think of, I remember, like, man, like how I used to be, and like I think it's not me that I'm basically or saying that it's just timing and what we must have believed in, how it was, but never let's just say, if I was to maybe encourage someone or lead to what now I could refer to hope: never lose hope, never give up. Remember, always God is gracious and kind of loving. God always disciplines those he loves. And I'm telling you, if I was to put you in my position, how it was, I'm talking to you about some normal things that wouldn't be hard, but it can be so difficult for some people to know what to do, or what to go, what to buy, and how to manage basically. Because I was never basically told. Just remember, if I was to tell you that I was leaving school, if I was to basically just spend some time with some friends, maybe old friends, young, I'm not talking about when we were basically old enough and when we were basically doing some other thing, but I'm just talking to you how life was, or when I first began to learn what I could, like if I was to say learn what I could do. But some of the things that we all basically remember our childhood, or maybe some of the things that we once liked, and think that we used to basically go, we would give up everything. We will make it a problem if we don't. Like if we just, I'm trying to say, like some other thing I'm not talking about. But what happened right now is I was just basically walking. I'm someone who wanders around basically, because I've dealt with some of these setbacks, which had left me sometimes hurt on my own basically, and I don't want to look back, and I don't want to think about these other moments, because I've also told you that I come from a broken home, broken family. We were separated, we were forced to live and we basically, our entire family, because we get to refer to our basically our history, or our lineage. We were divided, we were scattered all around Like I don't know, I don't want to get too deep into this matter because of our history, but I'm just telling you that we were to basically reside as a normal. But I saw the so it's like a competition, for God's sake. May I not just say anything? I hope that if I'm ever trying to refer to what I could say, I've even learned from other people, from their background, from how they were. There were some were very helpful, supportive in the way they get to like introduce themselves or what they share and how they do sometimes share some ancestral luck or some, yes, well, all, like basically all people do refer to their traditional custom, and so that what makes people identical. Like if I'm ever describing to you, like if I'm ever trying to get into this matter, if I was to explain something, but yeah, I'm just sometimes to myself, sometimes when I'm alone, because I used to like I used to like let's just say munchies. Now if I was to know the word, if I'm ever now referring to munchies, that's when we used to be with some friends, or when we basically used to be about few of us, and if I'm ever with some friend, we used to get to our spot and we used to hang out. So there was different type. But what I'm explaining to you right now is that, yeah, all these products are, because I didn't know much about product labels until the time when I remember working at until I was working in a food industry. So yeah, that's part of my career, or what I must have done before as part of it. Yeah, because I've done transport and I've done deliveries and things like that. So that's when I began to learn. Like I remember my old job that used to be basically with products. So I wasn't familiar with product labels. That's when I picked up and I began to learn and the type of product that I'm actually now talking to you about. It's not like it's not a detailed product label. It's just the name maybe. But I'm talking to you about the things that I'm talking to you right now. What I was trying to explain to you is like it's got a it's like 3D print, if you can try and say. So that also will make you crave, will make you be like, oh no, you know what, I'll go for that one. I'll grab that one. That looks like, it's tricky. Sometimes it does not. It just, yeah. But no one is getting ripped off, or it's up to you if you would rather want to go buy or not, because just like I told you, they're all covered, they all got a they all got a backup plan, so they are all covered by the consumer law legislation or the Consumer Law Act. You know what I mean? So it's up to the buy or those. If you get what I'm trying to say. But what's funny is that how we get like, bro, like the way I used to be, how I used to do it. And now it's like, bro, you put any of these things in front of me, bro, I don't know, it's like I'm turned off now. Not turned off, but I just don't want to, I'm not that, I don't know, it's just like, there's something that is restricting me or that is limiting me, making me to be aware and pay attention, because, because as we grow older, we know, like, yeah, I feel like deep down inside, my body doesn't take much as yeah, I don't know, yeah, but if you do, I hope you will get some insight from this, or if I'm ever trying to motivate someone or help you in any ways, or if I was to say to some people who are young, maybe just, yeah, take it easy, just, like, hold yourself always, and you don't need, like what I'm trying to explain to you, if I was to maybe refer to some sort of depends how you do it, what you do it for, and who you basically with, and where you basically so you don't need to, yeah, just be smart, because it's also affecting you. Need it's like, you need energy at the end of the day. Even if I was to know, like, some of these drinks that I used to basically refer to, maybe some of the drinks I still drink here and there, but I'm also trying to cut down on some not like, yeah, just normal like I don't drink Coke much, yeah, I don't, it's just yeah, Yeah, I hope you. I don't know. It started to get dark because it's almost evening now. But peace and blessing. God bless you. If I'm ever trying to, if I was to speak to you about something, I don't know how would this sound. Maybe I may have probably taken all this much time just to talk about something. Maybe it wouldn't mean something to me. But we leave it at that. So just take care. Look after yourself. Stay. Stay hopeful. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't always worry about what must have affected you, what may be difficult or what may be stressful. Learn from it. Always stay calm and never. I wish if I was to do some of the things that I'm even sometimes feeling sorry for after, when we don't control ourselves, even sometimes when we are basically getting out of control because our mind, bro, it's like I don't know, our mind is not just I'm talking about life in general, what it's like every day, what we stress about. Like if I was to say, like if we were ever to basically live in that type of environment, which I'm telling you, I come from a street life mentality. The time that when I remember trying to basically give up on almost everything and what we once would learn. Like, yeah, I don't know. Please, peace and blessing, everyone. God bless. Take care. I don't want to go too much into it, but I'm sure if I was to reach out to some of my friends that I don't know, I just don't want to, like, yeah. I'll just leave it at that. I'm just hoping if I was to share with anyone, people, if I'm ever reaching out from all around the world, or if I'm ever referring to as far as Sydney, if I was to know, maybe some people must have watched it and maybe watching these videos I'm sharing. I'm trying to just do it like, I've lost all motivation in trying to create a content, or maybe if I'm ever trying to speak about, because I've been dealing with a lot of disappointment, which we are basically it's like we are in the danger zone, so we always in that type of a watchful mood, you know, if I'm ever describing to you, because it's not a it's not, I don't want to say the word, it's not a freedom environment, if I'm ever trying to explain this to you, because it's been a lot of setbacks, been a lot of difficulties, which we get to go through a lot of spiritual warfare, like for us to maybe describe it to you, which it leads to also it depends what you basically know and how you understand that. Also, I want to describe it to you, if I'm ever probably speaking from a religious point of view, there are those negative, because I would rather keep it like that religious. I would rather keep and let people know that I'm someone who would rather keep it under, let's just say, under the Lord's guidance. Because if I was to maybe reach out and speak about some other thing, I'm always gonna refer to what I was once unaware of, and what I learned to do on my own. So I would rather say that if I was to know what hope was, if I was to find hope and give all the glory to God, because God is always gracious and leads people to salvation, that which is hope, because we don't want to describe it as from what my religious belief is, because obviously I'm going to refer maybe to Christian, but I'm not someone who was, because of maybe our belief system Christian. I'm just someone who had to remain alone. I had to basically make my own decision. I had to go into that dark tunnel, which I get to find myself lost out here because of a lot of issues that I had to deal with, families, community, friends that I once maybe admired, people I once looked up to. You know, it's all basically, at least don't give up. Don't always jump to conclusion because we also are under attack because of how the devil basically controls the world. So there are issues. There are time of peace. There are time of difficulties, and these are these issues. But always remain confident. Always hold on. Always remain in prayer. Always give thanks, and always seek advice. Always try to motivate yourself. Don't stress yourself. Don't let the enemy always, because the attacks can be so heavy, and you are tempted at the same time. It's our own desires. Our own desires were introduced to us by our enemies or by the devil. Let's just say, you know what I mean? Because how we were when we were young, we were never taught. I'm telling you, if I'm ever describing to you, if I was to leave school when I was young, I was only to know that much. I was to know what is maybe now affecting me in ways that is forcing me to know other things, or to making me to get into further study or learn, or maybe read. Because I began to learn about history. I began to question certain things, and if I'm ever using sometimes my mobile phone to do research, because I'm also trying to get into that mood where I know where I'm going or what is happening. Or sometimes we get to feel disappointed. We get to feel discouraged. So God always encourage people, and always letting you know that you don't need to go into a deep. You don't need to search deep for matters that are like far beyond anyone, and you wouldn't be able. Neither those who are profess, like, how can I say, even other people who must have learned all the secret thing wouldn't be able to handle it if you were to go beyond your ability of you, because it all leads to what you, because you can't, how can I say, you're not gonna know the whole story in one. It's like a life is a journey. But strengthen yourself, always stay motivated, stay hopeful, keep yourself always active, move always, whatever you can do, whether if you're young or old. If I'm ever describing to you, I'm mainly focusing on my situation, because I'm at an age that I'm also between young and old. So I'm not someone who used to be like I was, because I had a different perspective. My personality also shifted, because I began to learn from the older people, from the wiser people, from those who would advise us. Or maybe sometimes if I'm ever trying to basically attend sermons, or when we are listening to those who are ministering, sometimes it's good. It's always keep it like that. Don't be provoking us. Don't always judge things quickly, because I feel so regretful. I've spoken about some things I shouldn't. I've sometimes doubted, even sometimes I've even wanted to give up on almost everything, because I felt like, bro, if I was to know when I was young, I had like, let's just say I had a small group, small people that I'm ever referring to, because I did not need anything. But later when I began to understand, let's just say if I'm ever now realize it, because what happened to me, the scripture that I'm now basically learning about, we were never like, I don't want to be, I used to fear that look, bro, hell is maybe what we once feared, but it's for the evildoer, for the person who does not like, let's just say believe. But it's also wrong when you are tempted, when you are afraid, when you think like if you don't do it. But it's also leading you to what I could describe to you, that God is also deliverance and protection, and you basically are to know what God said, because it is for your own safety, for your own um, protection and hope. And if I was to let you know that if we were to know how if the world the world that I once knew, I don't know if you can see me unless I have to put it. Please excuse me. I must have taken this long. The world that I once knew was full of lust and full of agony, struggle, worry, full of full of wickedness, if I'm ever trying to explain to you, because I was maybe someone who was far from the true reality. If I was to know how, like I would say I knew, but we were left undisciplined. So we knew basic things. Even the people, if I was to say how they, like even now, if I'm ever describing to you, old people like hide their secrets, you know. They just which is, as long as you're someone who's kind, respectful, good towards others, and all people do have some errors and mistakes, but what I'm trying to explain to you that no one, like, I don't know, no one invested in us. No one wanted us to basically make it out that type of like environment. So I kind of had to, so I had to do this like, let's just say this healing within. Then once you get to know the world that we were basically, because we once lived, let's just say, under the control of evil forces, but know that there are also good forces that will also be on your guard and making sure that you are not wandering. And if I was to let you know that without any help or support and the right advice that you should always seek, and always remember that it's all starting from people who were also before you, who knew before you. So always ask and never be shy. Don't worry. So that way I could lead you to maybe hope, because the older is the wiser, but also sometimes the older can be how can I describe it to you? It can be very frustrating, very cruel, mean, aggressive, because not all people have mastered like knowledge or wisdom, you know. The older can also be a fool. Like, also, if I was to know, the devil was wise, yeah, in all his schemes. But what are his schemes? How can the devil is wise when he's like someone who's considered a fool? Because he does all the fool and all the evil things that are like bad. But we are also under these type of influence. We all sometimes fail to act wisely, and so we basically are naturally foolish, born without any without any knowledge, understand, unless you were basically to be guided by. The world is so deceiving. The history is now, it's not like if we were to learn from history. Now, even history, you cannot learn how they want you to learn, what they want you to understand. If I was to say I'm talking to you as far as I'm concerned, when we now refer to secret organization, yeah, secret societies, all people who has changed and shifted. Now it's like you live in a society, or you live in a world that is governed by, yeah, mainly secret society. And what do people want? They want you to engage in certain activities that will keep people isolated. Psychologically, like you basically are, yeah, forced to do some things that are like against your will or your belief, or what you once thought, and how you were once taught to live. Maybe if I was to, maybe what people now would, yeah. But I'll just leave it at that, because I've been getting some difficult, I've been getting some thoughts that are like also making me to see some dreams that are so disturbing because of all this, that if I'm ever basically trying to maybe, like if I was to say, if I'm ever trying to introduce myself to the world, to speak about, maybe not, shouldn't mix all things together, and even sometimes when I'm basically recording, I get to be reminded of this issue that I've always had, because it's like we are being basically watched and being observed, even if when we are basically in a very quiet location, or unless we have to be aware of these devices that we're using, because it's also basically heard and seen by other forces that are like trying to penetrate into like our reality, so that way we are under influence, and so that way we are kept, you know what I mean, if I'm ever trying to explain to you. But yeah, remember, don't worry, remember, if you have to stay in prayer and remain in prayer, always give always thanks, and know that God will lift you up and shift you up as well. But not in this way. Just don't mistake me by other people's identity, or if they were to share with you what they must have learned or what was like, because a lot of people have done it through wealth and through education, if I was to describe it. But I'm doing it from the Lord's point of view, from God's like given like advice through what we have learned, what we have understood, what the Bible teaches, what the Bible says, which we get to refer to what maybe is spoken in the book of Proverbs, Psalms, maybe, if we were to learn what we, because also we were to refer the people who lived, there are some of these chapters that is like mainly speaking about now what we could see modern day, for God's sake. Like, you know, if you were to basically look into the Bible and see how the world is, although this was written a long time ago, it's still like, you know, how can I describe it to you? So just be Be very careful, because remember, the devil is someone who's seen operating as a believer as well. Yeah, believer who's trying to lead the entire ministry, which was all planned long time ago through the New Age movement. Yeah, now which it does make you stumble. It makes you feel alone, because like you basically are there asking question and wanting, because you're basically trying to get out of the situation, or one yeah, if you get what I'm trying to say. But don't worry, despite your circumstances, God will come for your rescue. If I was to let you know that what I'm trying to explain to you through what I now wanted to describe to you ever since I started recording, just be smart, be wise. Don't rush. Don't make a decision based upon like I wanted to say, theology. Be careful of theology. All right. Although this is also something that is important and needed, but if people were to let you know that you basically, what we now discover, we now know and understand, the educational system is also dominated by, remember, by a group that is mainly trying to program the society into making anxious people. People would rather seek like advice, if they were to say like seek advice and how they want people to seek advice. But what type of advice are you going to seek, basically, if you were to know and you have the chance to know the truth? Even the truth can be explained in the interest of, I must say, yeah, in the interest of others, who's got a purpose, which leads to certain certain aspects, if I could describe to you. But people are known by their deeds, by their actions, and by their, like, it's known by their if I was to describe it, God catches the wise in his craftiness, because also this is a battle that is now basically seen almost hidden from the eyes of these people who now live in this world. Remember that. Keep it always. Pray. Stay faithful. Remain hopeful. God bless. Take care.